Hey, what's up everybody? And welcome back to the channel Flash 001 USA. Today's Friday. It's June 23rd. The year is 2023. We're back now to do a follow-up with the garden. This is how fast things have progressed in such a short time. Now the last garden video that I uploaded was on May 29th, 2023. And this thing has taken off like wildfire weeds growing. So I figured I needed to do it now, because if not, by the time I make another video, this will already have been harvested. I want to just do a quick walk around and let you guys see how much has progressed in here in less than a month. And we've had a bunch of rain, so that's really helped things along quite a bit. So take a standby. I'm going to pause and grab the camera off of the stand, and we're just going to breeze through this real quick. Okay, we're going to do a quick drive-by and just let you guys look at everything. I'll try to be easy with the camera so that I don't get everybody seasick. As I mentioned, I didn't plan on getting out here and doing a video this soon, but everything just took off to the point that I needed to do it now, because I got a feeling I'll be harvesting before I get around to another video. Now we'll go back around a second time and take a look at everything in a little bit more detail here. Right now I'm just doing a drive-by. Okay, something worth mentioning. I'm going to be extending the garden here within the next week or so. So I'm going to take this and go this way with it, about another 10-12 feet. The reason being is I moved my sweet potatoes out from over behind these potatoes out here in their own separate area. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant to say sweet taters. So yeah, so I went ahead and moved the sweet taters over here. And so I'm going to extend this fence out to accommodate it. Okay, now we'll do it again, except I'll let you guys see everything up a little bit closer. We'll get back around to the corn here in a minute. Man, it's all doing just quite well here. Everything's flowering, every bit of it is. The beans, the whole 9 yards, which I got some interesting things to share with you guys here too. Definitely going to be a mind blower on some of it. The beans, as mentioned, they're flowering, so sooner than later we're going to have beans on our table to eat, and nothing like good fresh beans out of the garden. And for those of you in that inner circle, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, something else that's strange. Now I'm lazy. I like to grow, instead of growing pole beans, I like to grow bush beans. Now these are bush beans that I put out, but they're almost acting like pole beans, or at least some of them are. Now these are heirloom seeds that I grew this year for the beans, but look at this. That's a bush bean plant, but it's also trying to become a pole bean plant. So I'll have to keep a close eye on this, and I may wind up having to put a trellis out here if these start taking off and going crazy on me. But I found that very interesting. So now we're over here to the okra. And something about okra, you don't have to put out a whole bunch of okra plants. Just make sure you got them spaced enough so they got room to spread out. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 out here, whatever I got out here. Regardless, these things produce until the frost hits them. So once they start kicking in, it's like a machine producing okra. They don't stop until the frost takes them down and puts them to a standstill. So because of that, a little goes a long way. Just something to keep in the back of your mind. We learned this, you know, before when we grew okra and put out 2 or 3 rows up and realized, hey, we couldn't give them away to our neighbors, much less, you know, us eat all this stuff. cantaloupe. What can I say? It's doing good, and it's slam loaded full of fruit. You can't see a lot of it because it's in the leaves, but I'm going to show you one here, and I'm going to show you another thing here that you're going to find quite humorous. Okay, let's see if you can see this. Notice it's shaped like a watermelon. That's because gravity's pulling it down. I got to get in here with some lady stalkings and support these for a couple of reasons. I'm not worried about the shape of them, but if you can see where my finger's pointing here, this is where the feeder's going to it, and what'll happen is this fence or trellis will choke this off, or if it gets bumped around it can cause it to break, which will cause the fruit to die and fall off prematurely. We don't want that to happen. So we got some on the ground here. This is what they normally look like. They're normally round like this right here. But yeah, everything's kicking quite nicely, and after all the rain we had, I can just tell you right now, I couldn't be happier with it. Our bacon potatoes. Now these are russet potatoes or whatever they are. Yeah, these are just regular old bacon potatoes. These things have just kicked and done quite well. You ready for something odd I was going to tell you about? Check this out. Now some of you are aware of this. I didn't know about this. But this year, growing the potatoes, I started noticing after the flowers were falling off, we had these little dingleberries growing on them right here, and I thought, what is this? And I went online and looked it up, went to an agricultural site, and they said a lot of people were seeing this. Now get ready for this. When you buy potatoes to grow them, you buy them normally as just seed potato. Okay, whether you're getting some from a bag at Walmart, or if you actually go to a nursery and you buy what they call certified seed potatoes, which is what these were. And they don't sell you seeds for potatoes, but every now and then the plants will do something where they put out an actual physical seed. I'm not joking. There you go. And if you take these and pluck them and let them dry out, the seeds are little white seeds, look like mustard seeds or something. So I went on to the government side, agricultural side, and I said, man, what is this? A lot of people were seeing this year, and I said, that's very interesting. So what they were saying is that, yeah, every now and then you'll see these pop up on your potatoes. And yes, you can take the seeds and grow potatoes out of them. Here's the problem. You don't want to do that, they say, because you don't know what you're going to get. It's like an apple tree. You can have an apple tree growing or go to an apple orchard where they allow you to pick apples or whatever and get the best tasting apples that you could ever bite into and go, well, I'm going to grow me some apples, or grow me some trees from these seeds. Well, guess what? The seeds will not, more than likely, I got to put that addendum to it, more than likely, highly unlikely, will they resemble the parents they came off of. This is why when you go to the nursery and buy fruit trees, normally it's from a cutting. This is the way they do it, so they guarantee they know what they've got. It takes years and years of them going through this constantly to get the right bearing fruits that have the right flavors. And not just that, it's a lot of stuff. And what they'll do is they'll clone it and cut it, and while they're doing that, they're doing new species or doing new trees to replace those, so they can continue the cutting and cloning process. As I had mentioned I started to do it. Started to call them sweet potatoes. Sweet taters. These things are doing really good. Now these two half barrels here were over here next to the potatoes, and I realized, made the wrong move when I did that. I wish that I would have went ahead and put regular bacon potatoes over here, but I didn't. Lesson learned. So now they got their own area, and I wish I also had bigger containers to put these in. Not a problem there either. As many as these I've got put out, I will get some sweet potatoes off of this. I'm sorry, sweet taters. See how hard it is not to call them by the correct name? All right. My favorite, well, one of my favorites, red cayenne pepper. Already loaded full of peppers. You see right here where my hand's at, they're still green, so it'll be a while before they're ready to pluck off of here, but I love cayenne pepper. Man, I go through a lot of it. They're doing quite well. The tomatoes, man, these things are ripping a new one. These plants are slam loaded all the way through. I can't see much in the viewfinder, so I just got to hope that you guys see what I'm seeing here. Now this is off 2 plants, and last year it was just like this. We grew so many tomatoes last year off of 2 plants that we wound up filling up the freezer with bags of frozen tomatoes. We wound up canning a whole bunch. I made a lot of salsa last year. We wound up cooking with them, eating them in salads, you name it, we did it. And yet here we are again. We still have a bunch left over from last year, so we're going to be taking those and actually taking the ones out of the freezer and make a paste out of them and put those in canning jars and get these guys ready to be on the table to eat. We've got a green bell pepper and a red bell pepper, and they're already starting to fruit. There's one on the red bell pepper back here. I don't know if you're going to see it or not, but I'll see if I can zoom in and hopefully the camera will be faithful and stay focused. Now I can't see much in the viewfinder, so hopefully you'll see it. I also did something this year just as an experiment. I put garlic out. That's what you see here mixed in with these. And yes, I did prepare it because down here in the south where I'm at, we don't get cold enough to shock the garlic. And I didn't know this until you go read up on it. But garlic, when you go to plant it, especially in a warmer area like this, you have to shock it. Basically, you take your bulb, you break it apart, you put it in some decent potting soil, put it in the freezer, you freeze it for about a couple of months, and then you can move it to the refrigerator and get it used to the temperature going up a little bit. And then when you go to put it in the ground, you put it in, you know, like the beginning of spring, and then it pops up out of the ground. And because you shocked it, it allows the bulbs to divide and split. What I understand it, if you just plant it like it is in a place that it doesn't get cold enough, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe some of you can answer this for me, you get a giant garlic bulb like an onion, except it's a garlic bulb. So we'll see what that does. If it does good, I'm going to put more out next year. Now the corn, I don't even need to even say anything about this. It's just taking off, man. Every stalk has fruit on it. Every one of them's got corn husk on it. Now I don't have a lot out here. I know people, like if I showed you my neighbors, they got as much corn as I would if I doubled this whole garden, just corn alone. And that's all good. I do like corn, but it's more of a filler than it is nutritious. I mean, it's got sugar and stuff in it. It does serve a purpose and it does taste good, but I like corn on the cob, and I like it in stews and whatnot, just the kernels in stews or whatnot. So I don't have to grow a lot of it, but if the Brandon years prove to be what I hope that they don't become, this garden will be doubled in size, to say the least. Yeah, everything's doing good, so I just wanted to share this with everybody. I felt if I didn't get out here now and do the video, by the time I came out here to do a follow-up video, this stuff would be all pretty much withered up and everything harvested off of it. I got in here 4 days ago and I took the weed eater and whacked all this stuff down because I don't want any snaky stuff in here where the grass is up to my kneecaps. You don't know what's in the garden, and I like to have it where I can get in here and maneuver around, maneuver without any issues or worries that I'm going to step on something. And it just came up that fast with all the rain. Okay, guys, on that note right there, let me hear your feedback. So I hope you guys have a good one, and boy, do I have a busy, busy, busy day ahead of me. I'm going over to a friend's house. We're relocating solar panels for them, and that's a big job that it's going to be taking on here in a couple of hours. And I'm going to be doing another solar video, and I'm going to get into that in detail. That's another topic for another day, but you know, any of you guys that check out my videos know that I've got solar up here. And even since I've done this, I doubled the panels here. Believe it or not, even right now I'm running everything in the house off of these solar panels here. Provided I got good sun, I can run everything in the house, minus the heat pump, and of course I'm not going to run an electric stove or a hot water heater off of it, so I flip those off in the breaker. So in essence, what I've got is I've got a transfer switch up there. So the whole house is in the 21st century. The lights, the entertainment center, the refrigerator, the freezer, all that stuff, I can run it. And that's what I do right now. And I'm actually seeing a major difference in the electric bill because for the last month, I have been running everything that I can in the house. So it averages, guys, just a brief over this, about between 400 to 600 watts continuous power is what I would say I would see in here at any given time. You know, because I got the freezer kicking in, the fridge kicking in. So around 400 to 600 watts. So I figure that I'm knocking off at a minimum of 8 hours a day of that over a 30-day period, over a month period. So yeah, I've already seen a reflection on my electric bill. Just like I did when I took the shop off grid. I took the shop off grid and my bill immediately dropped down about 30 or 40 bucks because I was running an AC unit inside her to keep cool, but this is what I did. Now, you don't see it, but back over here, back behind where we just did the compost videos, I've got a whole bunch of 340 watt giant solar panels that I'm going to be setting up, and I'll be doing a video on all this soon enough. So I think you guys will find this interesting, and the reason I do these videos, guys, is to let everybody know that anybody can do this. If I can do this, you can do this. If I can grow a garden and save money, so can you. If I can put myself in a position of being a little bit more self-sufficient, should things get bad or we lose power to a bad storm or whatever the reason is, if I can get myself prepared, I know that you can too. So on that note, we are signing off. Have a good one. God bless.